I paid for her to stay home and focus on her art. One day, I came home early and found a painting of them, naked, laughing. When I asked who he was, she said, "The one who sees me." That night, I burned the canvas in the backyard. The next day, I went to his gallery opening with something she'd left behind. I met Allison on a warm October afternoon in Asheville, North Carolina. I was walking around a small arts festival during my lunch break. I had no plans to buy anything, I just wanted to get some air. I ended up stopping at her tent because I liked the colors in her paintings. They were messy but full of feeling, like she wasn't trying to impress anyone. She stood behind the table, chewing on her thumbnail, looking tired but intense. She smiled at me like I was the first person to really look at her that day. I bought a $60 canvas that didn't match anything in my apartment. She asked if I wanted it signed. I said sure. That's how we started talking. 1 week later, we had coffee. 3 weeks after that, she stayed the night. By Christmas, she was living with me. I was 35, working at an engineering firm that designed HVAC systems for commercial buildings. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid good. I had my own house, no roommates, no crazy exes. I thought I was ready to settle down. She was 27, barely getting by on tips from a downtown bar, but she had something I didn't: ambition. Not the money kind. She wanted meaning. She talked about beauty, art, pain, truth. At first, I didn't understand half of what she said, but it felt good to be around her. She made me feel like I had a soul. We lived like that for a few months. She worked nights. I worked days. We'd pass each other on the couch, sometimes like ghosts. One night, she came home crying after a bad shift and said, "I hate wasting my life serving people who don't even see me." I didn't know what to say, so I told her to quit. "Stay home," I said. "Paint full-time. I got us." She cried again, happy this time. That was the start. For 2.5 years, I paid all the bills. Mortgage, groceries, phone, utilities, insurance, everything. I even picked up freelance jobs on the side to cover her art supplies and classes. I wasn't rich, but I made it work. I told myself I was investing in her future, in our future. She set up her studio in the garage. She painted all day, sometimes all night. I'd come home and find her barefoot in old paint-covered shorts, staring at a half-finished canvas, like it had hurt her feelings. She'd kiss me when I walked in and tell me I was her muse. Sometimes we'd eat on the floor. Sometimes she'd forget to eat at all. She got better. No question about that. Her early stuff was emotional but messy. By the second year, her work started to change. It was more focused, more raw. I watched her grow. I was proud of her. I didn't realize I was watching her drift away. The signs were small at first. Less time together. More locked doors. She started dressing better, even when she wasn't going out. New earrings. Fresh lipstick. I asked who it was for. She said, myself. Then she started going to more collaborative sessions. Always at weird hours. She said it was normal for artists. I wanted to trust her. I kept telling myself, she wouldn't do that to me. Not after everything. But I was wrong. The day it all blew up, I had no idea. It was just a Tuesday. A morning meeting got canceled, so I left the office early. I figured I'd surprise her with shrimp tacos from her favorite food truck. I even grabbed extra avocado because she always asked for more. When I got home, the house was weirdly quiet. No music.
No clinking brushes.
Just silence. I saw the back door cracked open, so I followed the sound of soft jazz coming from the garage. When I opened the studio door, I didn't hear voices or see anything obvious. I saw the painting. It was on a fresh canvas, still on the easel. Large, detailed, precise. 2 naked bodies. Her and another man. Entwined. Laughing. Her face looked peaceful.
Happy.
His face was turned just enough that I could see it wasn't me. He had a small scar above his lip. A tattoo on his shoulder. That was enough. I stared at it, feeling my body go cold. She walked in behind me. Wet hair. a towel wrapped around her. I heard her gasp. Then I turned to her. I asked, "Who is he?" She didn't blink, didn't stutter. She looked at me like I was interrupting something sacred. She said, "He's the one who sees me." That was it.
No e paledi. Nos cham.
Just those words. I left without speaking. I carried the painting outside, set it in the fire pit, poured lighter fluid over it, and watched it burn. She came running out screaming, "What are you doing?" "That's my work." I didn't say anything. I just watched the flames rise. She cried, standing 10 feet away, her towel falling off her shoulder. I didn't care. Later that night, she packed a bag and left. The next morning, I walked into our shared closet and looked at everything she didn't take. That's when I found the sketchbook, tucked inside an old tote bag. Dozens of pages filled with him. His hands, his jawline, his smile. Her beside him. Her straddling him. Dates and notes scribbled in the corners. They weren't just sleeping together. They were in love. Or, at least, she was pretending to be. At the back of the book was a flyer, a gallery opening downtown. Thursday night. Featured artist Micah Teller. That was him. That was the man from the painting. I didn't confront her. I didn't tell her what I found. She came back the night before the show to grab more clothes. She acted cold, distant, said, "After Thursday, I think we should talk." I nodded.
Sure.
She had no idea what I had planned. The night of the gallery show, I dressed simple. Faded jeans, black shirt, plain jacket. I didn't want to stand out. The gallery was full of people sipping wine and pretending to understand pain. I walked the perimeter until I found his section. Paintings of her. Everywhere. Some soft. Some erotic. All of them personal. She wasn't his muse. She was his trophy. People whispered her name. I heard someone say, "You can tell they're in love." I stood there, staring at a painting titled "To Be Seen." Her on her knees, face tilted up, lips parted, eyes closed. That's when she walked in with him. Red dress. The one I bought her. Her hand slipped around his waist like it belonged there. Nobody knew me, but everyone saw what I did next. From my jacket, I pulled out a canvas I had prepared. One of her old unfinished paintings, something ugly and chaotic. I glued a photo of her and Micah to the center, one I pulled from her cloud backup, her in his lap, laughing, half-naked. On the bottom, I wrote, "She only lets him see what she wants to be." I placed it right under his prize painting. Then I walked out. I didn't go home right away after leaving the gallery. I drove around Asheville for a while, windows down, no music. I wasn't sure what I was feeling, rage, betrayal, maybe some kind of relief. I knew the second I left that building, that little bomb I dropped was going to set off a chain reaction. I just didn't know how far it would go. That night, I slept on the couch with a drink in my hand. Didn't even take my shoes off. By morning, my phone was buzzing like crazy. First was a text from her. "What did you do?" Then another. "You ruined everything." Then she tried calling. I didn't answer. I waited. About 20 minutes later, I got a message from a number I didn't know. "You're gonna regret this. You crossed a line." It was him. Micah. That was the moment I realized they didn't just see that painting I left. They knew why I did it. They knew it was personal.
Good.
2 days later, Allison came back to the house again. She used her key, didn't even knock. I was in the kitchen making coffee. She stormed in like she owned the place and slammed her sketchbook down on the counter. "You had no right to take this," she said. I looked at her.
Calm.
"You had no right to paint him like that in my house." She scoffed. "This wasn't about you." That hit me sideways. I was paying for it. Every brush, every canvas. I paid for you to have the freedom to cheat in peace. She didn't deny it. She just said, "You were always too quiet, too safe." He made me feel alive. I laughed once. Sharp. "So you used me for comfort and used him for chaos?" She grabbed the sketchbook. "You think you hurt me at the gallery? You embarrassed yourself. You looked pathetic." That's when I pulled up my email on my phone and turned the screen to her. A message I sent the night before, with pictures. I had taken photos of every page in that sketchbook, sent them to 3 of the local galleries listed on her resume, places she'd applied to for future shows. I told them she had a history of borrowing imagery and creating emotionally misleading work using private references without permission. Her face went pale. "You didn't," she whispered. "They won't book you. Not now." "You bastard." "No," I said. "I just finally saw you the way he did. I thought that was it." I thought she'd leave and never come back. But things kept getting worse. The next week, my friend Marcus from work called me on a Sunday. He said someone had left a bunch of comments on his business's Facebook page calling me abusive, manipulative, and financially controlling.
I checked mina.
Same thing.
New accounts.
No names. But the timing was too perfect. She was trying to smear me, turn the story around. A few of my coworkers asked if everything was okay. I told them the truth. We broke up. She's bitter. That's all. But then she went further. On a Friday morning, I found my car's windshield cracked. A large nail stuck in one of my back tires. Spray paint on the passenger side window. Control freak. I didn't see her do it, but I knew it was her. I filed a police report. They said unless I had video or a witness, there wasn't much they could do. I installed cameras the same day. 2 nights later, someone tried to egg my front door. A camera caught them. It wasn't her. It was him, Micah, wearing a hoodie, walking up to my porch like he had something to prove. I sent the video to the cops. They filed it. He got a warning. I didn't hear from them for a few days after that. I started thinking it was over.
Until I saw the ad.
On a local art blog, a featured article popped up with her name in the headline. Allison G. Rebuilding After Betrayal. How a rising artist survived emotional abuse and found her voice. She had flipped the script. Painted herself as the victim. Talked about how she escaped a man who tried to own her. How she lost everything when she tried to show her truth. The article quoted her like she was some kind of survivor. People in the comments praised her for being brave and honest. One of her paintings from Micah's gallery was featured at the top. The one of her on her knees. Except now, she had renamed it Freedom After Silence. I sat there, staring at my screen. This wasn't over. Not even close. Seeing that article changed something in me. Not just anger, clarity. She wasn't trying to move on. She was trying to erase me. She didn't want to just cheat and walk away. She wanted to rewrite the past like I'd been holding her hostage, like I was the villain in her story. And people believed it. I started getting weird looks at work. One of the HR ladies pulled me aside and asked if there was anything going on in my personal life that might spill into the workplace. I told her everything was fine, but I knew what was happening. Allison was laying the groundwork, trying to wreck my reputation before I could speak up. So, I decided not to speak up. I decided to act. I started doing my own research. I knew she and Micah were still seeing each other, but I wanted to know how deep that connection ran. I found Micah's personal site. It listed some of his upcoming collaborations, grant applications, and partnerships. One of them was with a local arts nonprofit. They funded new artists, gave studio space, help with media and press. Real legit stuff. Guess who had recently been added as a creative advisor? Allison. They were working the system together, playing the romantic creative duo angle. Tragic muses, tortured lovers, all that crap. I kept digging. Found her Venmo. Public history. She'd been sending him small payments for studio time, supplies, even a few labeled thanks for the inspiration. I screenshotted everything. Then I found something even better. Micah had an old Instagram account he barely used anymore. Most of it was pretentious black and white photos of broken chairs and coffee mugs. But deep in the tagged posts, I found a series of behind-the-scenes pictures from a late-night shoot in someone's apartment. One of the accounts that tagged him had a short video clip. It showed Allison, drunk, laughing, topless, painting something obscene on his wall. Another woman was there too, cheering her on. In the background, you could hear someone yell, "She said her boyfriend's a joke. She's free now." I downloaded the video, saved it on 3 devices. This wasn't about freedom or finding her voice. This was mockery. This was destruction. I knew what I had to do. First, I contacted the nonprofit Micah worked with. I sent them a polite email, pretending to be an interested donor, asking about how they screen their creative partners and whether they supported artists with histories of online harassment and property damage. Attached to the message was the video. I got a reply 3 hours later. "Thank you for bringing this to our attention. We were unaware of these incidents. We are reviewing all partnerships internally." Then I went to the media angle. I messaged the blogger who wrote that glowing article about Allison. Told them I had a few details they might want to check out before running more features on her. They ignored me at first. Then I emailed them a copy of the police report from the egging incident, a still from the porch camera showing Micah, and a timeline of events, her quitting her job, moving in with me paying all expenses, her affair, and the gallery sabotage. I didn't embellish anything. Just facts. 2 days later, I noticed something odd. The article disappeared.
No epaledi.
No edit.
Just gone.
Allison must have found out, because she showed up at the house again, furious. This time, she didn't bother pretending to be calm. "You think you're so smart, don't you?" she snapped. "Going behind my back, ruining my chances?" I didn't get up from the couch. I just looked at her. "You did that yourself." She laughed bitterly. "No one cares what you think. You're not an artist. You're just a middle-aged paycheck who couldn't keep my attention." That hit hard, but not deep. I said, "You should leave now." She didn't move. So I picked up my phone, opened the camera app, and showed her the thumbnail of that topless video clip. I haven't released it. Yet. Her face changed fast. From smug to scared to cold. "You wouldn't dare. You gambled your whole career on a lie," I said. "Do you really think I won't?" She didn't say another word. She turned and left. Later that night, I got an email from someone I didn't know. Subject line, "You're not the only one she used." Inside was a message from a guy named Trevor. Said he used to date Allison. Years before me. Said he saw her name in a local forum. Recognized the pattern.
Said he had stories. Proof.
We set up a call. What he told me blew the whole thing wide open. Trevor was calm when he spoke, almost too calm. Said he didn't want anything, just felt like I should know the truth. He dated Allison 3 years before I met her.
Same story.
She was struggling, he had a steady job. He helped her get on her feet, paid for her to take a trip to an art retreat in Atlanta. While she was there, she met a photographer. By the time she came back, she was already cheating. "She doesn't just fall out of love," Trevor said. "She hunts her next target before she lets go of the last." I asked if he had proof.
He did.
Old emails, screenshots of texts, even a voicemail where she admitted she gets bored easy. He sent it all to me. That night, I didn't sleep. I laid everything out on my dining table, copies of the sketchbook pages, Venmo screenshots, video clips, emails, the police report, Trevor's stuff. My house looked like a crime scene investigation. And in a way, it was. She didn't just cheat on me. She used me, lied about me, tried to erase me. So I built something.
A file.
A full record of her pattern, her lies, and the damage left behind. And I had a plan. I reached out to one of the local art event coordinators in Asheville, someone Allison had tried to impress a few months back, but who didn't book her at the time. I posed as an anonymous whistleblower. I sent them a clean, simple document. A timeline, sources, evidence. I labeled everything carefully. No rants. No insults. Just the truth. I titled it, "The Making of a Fraud, a Case Study on a Manufactured Muse." Within a week, it was everywhere in local art circles. A private Google Doc link got leaked and shared around. A couple local art blogs picked it up and started connecting the dots. People started looking at Micah's work with fresh eyes. The question wasn't, is she a victim? It became, Was this whole thing just a performance? Then came the final nail. A woman named Carly reached out to me, said she was a reporter for a mid-sized arts and ethics magazine. She had seen the document and wanted to do a feature on the ethics of inspiration and the cost of false narratives. I agreed, under one condition: anonymity. She took everything I gave her. She fact-checked, cross-referenced, even spoke to Trevor. When the article dropped, it exploded. The title read, "Behind the Canvas: How a Rising Art Star Faked Her Way into the Spotlight." It didn't use her full name, but everyone knew who it was. It laid out the entire scheme. How Allison had a pattern of manipulating men, taking financial support, then flipping the script to destroy them when she was done. It quoted her old social posts. It referenced the nonprofit dropping her, and Micah. It even linked to the original gallery event with side-by-side comparisons of her story versus the truth. Micah tried to fight back. He posted a long Instagram rant about jealous exes and small-town gossip. But it didn't land, because someone else came forward. A third ex. Same story. That's when sponsors started pulling out. Galleries took his work down. His next 2 shows were canceled due to unforeseen scheduling issues. As for Allison, she vanished, deleted her Instagram, shut down her website, left the art groups. Rumor was she moved to another city. Some said Atlanta, others said Nashville. Doesn't matter. She was done here. A few weeks later, I came home to find a plain envelope in my mailbox. No return address. Inside was a single note, written in shaky pen. "You won. I hope it was worth it." There was no name, but I recognized the handwriting. I stood on my porch, holding that note, feeling the wind brush my face. And for the first time in months, I smiled. Because no, I didn't win. She just lost. All by herself. But I'll admit something to you. I wasn't perfect either. I let her charm blind me. I ignored the signs. I handed over my trust without making her earn it. I tried to fix someone who didn't want to be whole. That's on me. But I learned. I don't rescue anymore. I don't fund dreams that don't include me. And I sure as hell don't ignore red flags dressed up like passion. The house is quieter now. Her old studio is empty. I turned it into a woodshop. Something with real tools, real weight, real results. The painting she gave me, the one of us at the table, it's gone now. Burned. Just like the first one. I don't need reminders anymore. Because I got the only closure I ever needed. Truth. And watching a lie unravel itself in public, piece by piece, that's better than revenge. That's justice.